like a soldier all through the night, and I won't give up. I will survive. I'm a warrior, and I'm stronger. That's why I'm alive. I will conquer time after time. I'll never falter. I will survive. I'm a warrior. Oh, oh, you can't shoot me down. You can't stop me now. I've got a whole damn army. Oh, you try to break me down. You try to take me out. You can't cut or stop me. Warrior, I'll fight for my life like a soldier all through the night, and I won't give up. I will survive. I'm a warrior, and I'm stronger. That's why I'm alive. I will conquer time after time. I'll never falter. I will survive. I'm a warrior. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm a warrior. Whoa, whoa.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our live session, More Than a Diagnosis. Today, we have some amazing individuals who will be sharing their amazing journey with us today. We have Miss Ashley Carter, and later on, we should have Alexandra, who will be sharing with us as well. Ashley.
Hey,
Hey, Ashley, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good today. I hope that you are even or that it will get better. I put it that way.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Right. So September is IIH Awareness Month, and as IIH warriors, we want to shed some light on our journey so others can, know what we are going through and, how they can also go through their journey just the same. So, Ashley, can you tell us from beginning how your journey started?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So for me, it started a little ways back. I would say the first time I was probably told that I had some swelling in the nerves behind my eyes was probably about, I would say as much as 10 years ago. But at the time, no one really told me much about it. They just told me they noticed it, but they didn't really give me anything to work with. So at the time, I was just like, okay. And I didn't have any symptoms whatsoever. So I kind of just went on and moved on past that. But I would say later in 2020, I went to a new optometrist who also told me that he saw swelling behind my eyes and that it was probably really important to see an ophthalmologist. And at that time, he gave me a little bit more explanation. So at that time, he kind of told me, well, he asked me about my symptoms. And of course, like most people with IIH, he asked me, did I have any headaches or anything like that? And I actually did not. So I was like, okay. But then he went on to ask me, well, have you had any stiffness in your neck? Have you had any lower back pain? And at that time, those were two symptoms that I was actually having a lot, but I associated them with working in retail because I was a retail associate at the time. So I just thought it was my body just saying, okay, we're tired. I didn't realize that it could be something else.
Right.
But I took what he said seriously and I went to see an ophthalmologist, and that's when they let me know more in detail about papilledema and IIH. And so, as you know, of course, papilledema is sometimes a result of IIH, which causes
Right.
nerve swelling. I mean, the nerve swelling.
Swelling, yes.
So I went to the ophthalmologist and he sent me on to a neurologist where I had an MRI, and the MRI was fine. There was nothing found. And so they were pretty much like, we're pretty sure you have IIH. So let's send you on to get a lumbar puncture. So I had a lumbar puncture, and I want to say, I think we discussed this in another live. I think your for your cerebral fluid, I think the number is somewhere between 23 and 25. and
Yeah.
mine was 40, which let them know that my body was creating too much of this fluid, which also causes the IIH and causes the papilledema for myself. So right after that, I started medication. I started Topamax, which my body did not like whatsoever. But now I've been on Diamox for about 3 years, and it's been a lot better for me. I still have flare ups, but things have been so much better.
Okay. What was your reaction to Topamax though?
So my reaction for Topamax was, I know that Topamax, if I'm not mistaken, can also be used for mental health issues. And
Yeah.
so for me, it really felt like an out of body experience. Like I felt as though I didn't feel like myself. It felt almost like I was in a dream and not
Mhm.
really here in reality. And so it was really, I couldn't get adjusted to it.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people, I feel like Topamax has more effect than Diamox, but it just did not work. And I wish it had, because I feel like a lot of people have done well on Topamax.
So you also had an issue with Diamox as well.
No, 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 no. I had no issues with Diamox. I was saying that I wish that I had stayed on Topamax, because a lot of people are able to get more relief. With Diamox, it's been fine, but I would say, I don't know. Diamox is one of those things, it kind of levels you out versus necessarily making things all the way better, if that makes sense.
Okay. How are your how is how are your appointments? How do you follow up with doctors?
So right now, everything has been. So I would say when I first got diagnosed, I was having appointments I would say about once a quarter. So now it's typically about once a year. I see my ophthalmologist once a year, and I see the neurologist once a year, and we just go over, how I'm feeling. We check my eyesight. We check and see, are there any new symptoms? But lately, everything has been fine. So we just stick to once a year.
Okay. So what's your relationship with your doctors? Will you say you have a good care team? Do they listen? What's the relationship like?
So I feel like I have a really, really good care team. Now that my symptoms are more stable, I mainly see the nurse for my neurologist rather than the actual neurologist. And she and I get along great. We have really good conversations. We laugh. We have a really good time. But I will say it was an adjustment when I first started, because when I first started, there was a lot of talk about losing weight, and like other people have said with IIH, a lot of times people think that is just the end all be all solution, and I really don't think that it is, because when I first was told that I had swelling behind the eyes, I was probably 100 pounds lighter. And so I don't even know that it really has to deal with weight per se. But yeah, that was a topic that came up. But nowadays they don't really pressure me as much. They do talk about it, but it's in a place where I feel comfortable.
Yeah, when I just got diagnosed too, that was the first thing. And I mean, I was saying I wasn't obese, I wasn't overweight. Um, I was told to lose weight. Um, but then I realized that weight wasn't really the cause of my IIH.
Right.
And I'm still yet to find out what's causing my symptoms, because I've done so much and nothing has changed. To be honest, my symptoms are still severe to this day. Um, the only good thing is that last year, about February, my papilledema went.
Okay.
Um, and that was the good news
Yeah.
I had. So to after being diagnosed, because I got diagnosed with IIH in um June 2021. So
Mhm.
my diagnosis was pretty straightforward as yours.
Mhm.
Um, I did an MRI and it showed.
Mhm.
Then I did a lumbar puncture. The pressure was 29.
Mm.
Um, Symptoms was severe, but I was losing my vision. My vision was
Oh.
deteriorating very fast,
Okay.
and I started to lose my peripheral vision. And then I did another lumbar puncture on the visual. The pressure was 55, and I got
Wow.
a shunt place. And then a few months after the shunt, my symptoms came back. So when I got the shunt placed October 12th, which was on my birthday. So it was really a tough decision. It was either save my vision or enjoy your birthday. And so I like literally a few months. I was fine when I got the shunt placed. I was healing. I was a little better. And then by the January, I got back to work, and then everything started to go AWOL. My shunt was over draining, and you know,
Wow.
my symptoms came back. We did some adjustments to the shunt. Nothing changed. Um, each adjustment that the neurosurgeon made, my symptoms got worse.
Oh, wow.
And I met a neuro radiologist, an interventional radiologist in New York, and he saw stenosis on an MRV that I did. And I actually went to New York to get stented after a series of um, telehealth. However, when I went to New York, um, I couldn't get stented. My symptoms changed.
What?
The gradient pressure dropped, and but my symptoms were still too severe, and the risk of stenting was very high of me dying on the table
Wow.
or my symptoms still being severe. So the risk was greater than the benefit, actually. So I had to make a decision of, continuing doing the follow-ups. So I had to see a neuro-opto, had to repeat a lumbar puncture just the same.
Mm.
And to this day, nothing has changed. I just started back, well, not just in January, I started back Topamax, which I'm still not doing well on. The side effects are killing me. Um, have some MRIs to get done, have another LP to get done. So the journey continues. It's a never-ending journey. Um,
Truly. I'm sorry that you've had to go through all of that. I feel like this is why it's so important for people to share their different stories, because for some people it's straightforward, and then other people it's like it's all over the place.
yeah.
I have a question. Have they ever discussed you doing Diamox instead?
I was on Diamox. When I
Oh, you were.
just got diagnosed, I was on Diamox, but I didn't tolerate Diamox well.
Okay.
So I did Diamox for a month or two and I had to be off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say, like, what were your symptoms with Diamox that it didn't work well?
So when I was on Diamox, I had the tingling in my hands and
Mhm.
my feet. My vision got more blurrier, fatigue, my headaches got more severe.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
couldn't I really couldn't tolerate it. And I lowered the dosage and it was still the same. And then I had to work and I couldn't function at work. So they had to take me off. And then my vision was still deteriorating
Wow.
while I was on the Diamox and the pressure was still high. Because while I was on it, I repeated the visuals and my vision was still deteriorating. I did a lumbar puncture, the pressure was still high. So my neurologist at the time took me off it.
Okay. I just want to make sure that you can hear me because it froze on my end for a minute.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Wow. I know one thing I can say I definitely experienced too, and still this happens too. The fatigue with Diamox is crazy. And it's
It
like
is
it's so crazy to me because I'm like, wait, so we have fatigue with IIH, but we still have fatigue with the with
with the
the
medications.
like how does that work?
It's crazy. I think I see Alexandra
Okay.
here. Hey, Alexandra.
Hey, how are you?
Um, not so
Hey.
well, but hanging in there. How are you doing?
Unfortunately, same. Thank you for being patient and waiting for me. I appreciate it.
It's fine. I think you were not doing well this week.
No, I've had a rough week. I was just sympathizing with your experience with Diamox. I'm on a combination of Diamox and Topamax right now. And with my experience with my symptoms, um, my doctor decided it was a better choice right now to increase my Diamox, and with that comes a lot of side effects. I'm
Mm,
not in the place where a shunt, in his opinion, a shunt is needed, which I understand is always a last choice. I still suffer from pretty pretty bad papilledema. It's controlled right now. I've lost peripheral vision in my left eye um over the last year, which was very it's unsettling to hear that the nerves in my the optic nerves in my eyes are pale, which means the optic nerve sheath surgery is basically out of the question. It wouldn't do anything for me because the nerves are pale. Um, it's very disheartening to hear that certain things are out of the question as far as something that could possibly uh, possibly help. On the other hand, it's like, okay, great. I don't have to, there's surgeries out of the question for certain things, but
So
um
you didn't do the optic nerve sheath fenestration surgery?
optic, no, it's there wouldn't be a reason to, because the my optic nerves are pale, which in that case,
Oh, okay,
yeah, they're
okay.
pretty pale. So the vision that is lost right now, at least in my left eye, it's not returning.
Wow.
Um, so we've increased the Diamox, and with that have just come a lot more fatigue. And of course, as you guys were saying, as Ashley was saying, the fatigue with the condition and the fatigue with the
Well, the
medication.
medications are terrible. Yeah.
There are days where getting out of bed is just nearly impossible. And I don't know if either of you have experienced it, but I the incredible loss of appetite I have on my Diamox is I can't even begin to explain it. Um, I have almost zero desire to eat some days, and the increase of having to go to the restroom or
Mhm.
just anything. So I'm in between. If I'm When I am awake, I'm running to the bathroom, and when I'm not, I'm in bed. Um, and it's been a week. It's been a week. And then I had to fight with my insurance on covering the
Mhm.
increase of the Diamox, because they were insisting that they weren't going to pay for it. I would have had to pay 1K out of pocket. Yeah, that
Wow.
they would cover me taking a certain amount, but the increase that the doctor provided um was not was not something that they were comfortable with. So my doctor got in contact with them immediately, put in a prior authorization, got that taken care of, which was wonderful on his behalf. My doctor is amazing. Um, but just the thought that I'm like, this is not something that's in my control.
Right.
Um, so the fact that you're telling me like, like, hey, we'll cover this much, but if you have to take more, we're sorry, was just kind of I had to apologize to the pharmacist. I was like, I'm sorry if I'm a little upset right now. It has nothing to do with you. I was just so taken aback at the fact that she's sitting here telling me the insurance is not agreeing to cover this. She's like, I can show you the rejection letter. I said, no, 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 I believe you. I couldn't believe it. I believe you. I just can't believe that this is
Right.
actually, a thought. Um, so it's like you said, it has its ups and downs. I knew that, with the increase of the Diamox, there would be many more side effects, but it was really a matter of, do I deal with the symptoms of the condition or do I deal with the side effects of the medication? And I chose the medication, because I know eventually I'll grow a bit more accustomed to it and it'll come down. My first experience with Diamox, I had the same issues with Alicia. It was very, very hard to deal with. I had a lot of tingling in my hands and feet. I still do experience that. It's a lot less than I was in the beginning, and I think that was because I was started off on a very high dose instead of easing, the doctor easing my body into it. I had severe tingling in my hands and feet and my face. Um, Raised blood pressure. I'd been sent to the ER at one point where my blood pressure was so high they had to, I can't even remember what they did to lower it, and then ended up giving me a lumbar puncture. Where it was, I believe when I was first diagnosed, it was my pressure was 49, and then that night in the ER it was still about 47. And they're like, "Oh, okay, you're aware you have." I'm like, "Yes, yes, thank you." I'm very
Mhm.
much aware. I'm very much aware, and this was needed. Um, and I had requested to be taken off the Diamox at that time because it was terrifying. The symptoms
Wow.
are incredibly scary. Um, right now, the combination of the Diamox and the Topamax it's a lot to deal with, side effects wise.
Yes.
A lot to deal with, but it's keeping me at a point where my papilledema isn't getting better, but it's not getting worse.
Mhm.
I've lost 10% of my body weight, which is wonderful. I'm increasingly working on my diet, which is one of the hardest things, the hardest things. Um, and I'm hoping that, with this course, and with my doctor's support and the care team that I have now, this is going to continue to help me with my journey and growth. Um, that's all I can really hope for. Um, I'm not as bad as it was in the beginning, but there's still a long way to go with this. A very, very long way to go. There's still so many things that I'm learning as well, along with many of us, of course, with what this condition brings. I'm learning new things every day about the different side effects, symptoms, and sometimes something will happen, and I'm like, is this a regular thing, or is this the IH? Do I just have a do I just have a headache or a pain, or is this my
Mhm.
condition? I never know. Um, and it's with support from all of you that's really helping a lot get through this a lot. It's I couldn't be more grateful to have found all of you, genuinely.
What about how is the support from doctors? Do you have a good care team?
I do now. I do now. In the beginning, my very first neurologist, she scared me. I can't lie. She I felt that maybe she was very supportive in the beginning. She pushed, once she figured out what that I had IIH and explained to me what it was. I was concerned. I'd never heard about it. Um, and she pushed for my lumbar puncture to solidify the fact that this is what it was. Immediately after that, her response to everything was, "This is because you're overweight." You have this condition because you're overweight and you need to lose weight. And once you lose weight, this will all go away. And I was baffled. I couldn't believe that she was saying, not only was that she was saying this to me, but that I've been overweight for majority of my life. And I could not understand that this was happening to me because I was overweight. Because the first thing that I was told was, when I went to the doctor, I went to my doctor for, tinnitus. And I was explaining to them that I had tinnitus, and they're like, okay, well, your hearing's fine. What is it that you're experiencing? And I told them about this whooshing in my ears. And the doctor that I saw had the most terrible bedside manner and was like, that sounds like a brain aneurysm. And I was terrified when she said this. And then I couldn't get an MRI done for 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, I sat at home wondering and waiting if I had a brain aneurysm waiting to pop in my head. And then I get the MRI done, and they tell me about this condition, and then I'm told that this is all because you're overweight. You're overweight. You have all these headaches and all this whooshing in your ears because you're overweight. So lose some weight, and this will go away. Take this medicine, lose weight, and you'll be fine. And I'm like, okay. And I start looking all this stuff up and, doing my own research. And I'm like, this can't be it. This can't be it. This can't be it. I've been overweight for quite some time. This can't be it. And I'm, taking the medicine. I start losing a little bit of weight. And she's like, great job. Keep losing weight and keep taking the medicine. And I'm like, medicine's making me sick. And okay, well, let's up the medication and keep losing weight. I'm like, I'm not going to lose 50 pounds by the time I see you in, 3 weeks. She wasn't seeing me for physical visits. She was seeing me. She kept giving me telehealth visits. I had one eye doctor appointment. He didn't mention anything about papilledema. He didn't give me the what is the test that is completely blanking from my mind right now? But the visual, the field exam, the
OCT,
the visual field exam, which would have told them that something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, yeah, we'll schedule it for your next appointment. Well, I had lost my job at that point, which in turn made me lose my insurance. At this time is when I started losing my vision. So I get my insurance back. Finally, all this stuff comes back. At this point in time, I find my new doctor, and I tell them, I see an eye doctor, and they're like, you have papilledema, and you need to see a neuro-ophthalmologist because something's a little bit wrong here. I said, okay. So I see him, and he tells me, I need to see you for a little bit longer than this, 15-minute appointment. I'm going to clear the rest of my schedule. Is that okay with you? And I'm like, absolutely. And he stayed with me for about 3 hours, asking me millions of questions, going through my files and everything. And I cried by the end of the appointment, and I thanked him because that was the first time through this entire year of going through this that somebody actually took the time to sit with me, ask me questions, ask me what was going on, and not just tell me that I needed to lose some weight and that all of this was going to go away. It wasn't what I wanted to hear. I didn't want to hear that my vision was gone. I didn't want to hear that, it wasn't going to come back. But he explained to me that this is what was happening and that he was going to help me. And he's like, we can't get back what's lost, but we can figure out moving forward how to stop what's going to happen, how to stop this from getting worse. That was all I needed to hear. Mm-hmm. All I needed to hear. I couldn't be more grateful for that man. He has his assistant call me from her personal phone to make sure that my appointments are booked every single month. He follows up with me. I have to make sure I send him a Christmas card. He's so on top of if I forget my appointment, they call me. And he's like, if they tell you that there is no time in my schedule, tell them to book you on my lunch break. make sure that your appointment is here with me monthly. I will see you every single month. Anytime something changes or something happens to me that I'm confused about, he tells me to write him a message immediately. He gives me so much support that I didn't have before. Um, and it makes it so much easier because I was so afraid that all I was going to be told is that I had to lose weight. And I didn't know what I was supposed to do with that. I felt like I was being bullied. um, I didn't know who I was supposed to talk to, and I just, I went online for resources. I just did my own research to try and understand and navigate how this was supposed to go. And every time I had a side effect or a symptom, I couldn't comprehend it. And her response to everything was to just up my medication and up my medication and up my medication, which was fine until, like, you'd experience side effects. Like, Ashley, you're on Topamax, and the cognitive issues that I've experienced on Topamax the first time around were terrifying. And um, the cognitive decline, I had no idea that it was from the Topamax. I thought it was the IIH itself, and it
Mm-hmm.
scared me. And she had never explained that to me. She was just like, all right, I'm going to go from this dose to this dose. And I was like, oh, it's a bit of an increase, but okay. And when certain things started to happen, I was kind of slurring speech and forgetting words mid sentence. And I was like, am I okay? Is this, is this normal? And she was like, oh yeah, no, 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 that's the medication. And I was like, I wish I would have known. I wouldn't have felt, crazy, and my job wouldn't have looked at me like I probably I shouldn't be working right now if I can't hold conversations with guests. Um, it was just, it's overwhelming at times. And not having support, especially from your care team, makes it harder.
Definitely. What's the support like from friends?
Um, it was hard in the beginning. Um, it's and I think what makes it harder is that you can't always see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, from the outside, I look better than I have in years, which is great for me. That makes me happy for myself. But to other people, it seems like you look the best that you have in years. I also feel the worst that I've ever had. Um, so there are a lot of times where it's hard to explain to people that I'm not, I don't have the energy that I appear to have, as much as I would want to participate in all of the things that I know that I'm missing out on. I don't have the energy to. Um, I have to, I have to take a step back. I had to take a step back from work, from my social life, from my personal life, from myself, and put
Mm-hmm.
all of that into perspective. And the people that I surround myself and choose to surround myself with now completely understand and support me. They don't let me fall into my hole of sadness, which was very easy to do in the beginning of this. It was very easy to pity myself because I wasn't the person that I was able to be before all of this. Um, so one thing I could say is make sure that you're around people who get that life happens to you, whether
Mm-hmm.
you want it to or not. Whether you want it to or not, life happens to you.
Yeah. I'm still working, and I do have a supportive work team. I'm grateful for that. To be honest, I have an amazing work team who is very supportive and understands that the outward appearance. I look fabulous, but um, I am in pain. I do have friends. I've lost friends, to
Mhm.
be honest, and I do have friends who are supportive, who understands, who went and did their research about IIH so that they're better able to understand me, journey with me, um, family as well. Um, have a lot of support from family. So, and I've met other support groups. I'm a part of other support groups who it's been amazing, you know. Ashley, what's the support like for you with friends, family?
Well, it's actually been good. I was gonna say too, like one of the probably the main adjustments that we had to make is I'm married, so my husband had to get adjusted to the fact that I was very tired all of the time. But one of the things that worked in my favor is at the time that I was diagnosed, I only worked part time anyway because, well, I'm an entrepreneur, so I was able to kind of set my own schedule. So I reduced my hours at my part time job, and they understood. So it worked out well there, but it was still an adjustment at home because he's so used to being able to spend time with me, and it would be like when 8 o'clock came or 9 o'clock came, I would automatically be asleep. As soon as I took Diamox, I would be asleep. And so it was an adjustment, but everyone for the most part has been very, very supportive. I think I do still have family that doesn't really quite understand, but I also think for me, it's hard for them to like understand that I may have days where like I can't do things, but it's hard for them to understand because 95% of the time I'm good. So when that 5% of the time happens, it's like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like you're not available? Are you okay? And it's like, no, this is a flare up. I need you to understand. So I'm sorry, but I'll be better in a day or so. But yeah, it's been good.
Mhm.
I know one thing I wanted to ask if you all were okay with it. Have you noticed any changes that have been helpful for you? Like if you changed your diet, like have you changed your diet and like implemented any supplements as well?
Um, I've that's something I've actually been actively working on. So I've definitely cut back on salt a lot,
Yeah.
which has been a
Yeah.
huge help. I'm working on the sugar. That's it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, I've
Um,
cut back on salt too,
the salt is
but
a
I
big
cut
one.
salt out my diet completely.
Yeah, yeah. That like I'm
I
to the
mean, there are
point where
days when I do crave, but I cut
yeah,
it out.
I'm to the
I'm
point
still
where I
working
can
on the
taste.
sugar.
Yeah, the sugar's hard. The sugar is hard.
Yeah.
Um, I'm working on a diet now where I'm, trying to do more protein based. I've heard a lot about turmeric.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so I'm trying to look into things. Have you guys ever tried golden milk?
No. Mm-mm.
Mhm.
Like golden milk drinks. I know Starbucks had this one drink. I think it was actually called the golden drink.
Hmm.
And they had something that was similar. I know it had turmeric, pineapple juice, coconut milk, something like that. It was
Hmm.
amazing.
Mhm.
But if you look into golden milk, um
Okay.
I've tried it and I know that when I've had a flare up, I was like, let me just see. I was like, let me just see. I've
Mhm.
and I had a bad kind of pressure headache. And it did help a bit. It did help a bit. So I'm looking into a lot of kind of adding turmeric and just anti-inflammatory things that seem to be helpful, especially during flare-ups. Um, but I'm trying to do more. I'm not vegetarian. Like I can't be a vegetarian. I love my meat, but more plants, vegetables, a lot of spinach. I'm trying to add into my diet. I'm doing a lot of protein, ground beef, ground turkey. I've gone definitely cut the red meat out. Chicken, fish, a lot of spinach, squash type. I'm trying. I'm slowly getting into that, but it's I've heard a lot about cutting out. The salt is the big one,
Mhm.
caffeine, sugar. I love my caffeine, so it's hard for me. Um,
Mhm.
but the sugar is the next one. The sugar is the next step.
Yeah, I know. Well, the reason why I asked is because I felt like once I made some adjustments like to my diet, so I try to eat like low sodium, and then
Mhm.
I do take like a lot of supplements. I do have to take vitamin D because I have like low vitamin D.
Mhm.
I take B12. I take zinc. There's a lot of different things that I take to make sure like I'm okay. And I have found that over time it has helped a lot. But you know what? I actually felt the best when I was trying to do more of a vegetarian diet.
Okay.
That was hard.
Mhm.
Well, because actually, technically, I was trying to do borderline more vegan at one point,
Okay.
and I actually had lost a lot of weight, but that's a hard lifestyle to keep up
Yeah.
with. So
Definitely.
it's a very hard lifestyle. But when I say I felt great, like I felt amazing. So I don't know. I
Mm.
keep saying maybe I should
I
go back
believe
there, but it's hard.
it. Yeah. I believe it. I believe it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm still trying to health wise to I was trying to go vegan, but it's a struggle, trust me.
The dieting is the hardest part. I think
Dieting
the
it's a
dieting is the
struggle.
hardest part.
I mean, I can't cut caffeine out um any at all. That's a struggle for me.
Yes, yes.
Um,
I have a life and fitness coach who's amazing, and he's really helping keep me on track with the diet right now. And he drinks I never remember the name of it, but he drinks a mushroom coffee, and I'm this close. I'm very close to trying it. I'm very close. The thought of it is still very out there for me, but I'm this close. If I
you
can
know,
if I can drink a mushroom based coffee, then maybe I can kick the caffeine. Just
you know
maybe.
what? When I was in Houston, I had CBD coffee. That was good.
Really?
Hmm.
I've never had CBD coffee. I've
Yeah,
never.
well, in North Carolina, it's they can't offer it, but I don't think. But but I had it in
I'm gonna have
Houston.
to
It
look
was
into
great.
that. I'm in
okay.
Massachusetts. They I know they have that somewhere.
Okay.
I guess dispensaries all over
Uh,
the place, so they gotta have that somewhere. I'm gonna have to look into that one.
Yeah.
Let's look at that one. If I can find a replacement for the caffeine, because and I really like matcha. Matcha is a really good caffeine replacement as well.
But you know what? When I had my lumbar puncture, they actually told me to drink caffeine afterwards.
Did they?
Yeah, they told me,
Hmm.
I don't know, like it would help balance everything out. I don't know. It was something weird, but she was like, definitely drink some coffee or something when you get done. And I was like, okay. And I
See,
did, and I felt
caffeine
fine.
really, I know. See, caffeine really does have its benefits. Like, I haven't cut it out, but I did cut back severely,
Okay.
severely. Like, I
Yeah.
severely cut back. I have a cup like a week. I have a cup like a
yeah,
week.
some doctors do tell you to drink the caffeine. It helps.
Yeah,
Like they tell you to drink a little Pepsi.
yeah.
Some tell you to cut it out.
And I
So
can't even I can't even drink the taste. I can't tolerate the taste of soda anymore since the Diamox.
Yeah. I can't really drink it. It doesn't taste right.
No, it tastes
yeah, sodas.
no.
Once you're
Yeah,
on the Diamox, it do give this flat
yeah.
taste.
It just you
Yeah,
just taste like the carbon or what it just it's awful. So I was
yeah.
like, I'll stick with my coffee. I'll stick with my coffee. So I used to drink at least I used to drink it daily, but then it was a couple and then it was like a cup a day, and now I'm like at a cup a week if that.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay. Just like
I
me.
may have a cup every few days, but I'm like, it's pumpkin spice time. I gotta have it.
I have to. I have to. It's mandatory. It's mandatory. I can't not have pumpkin spice. Can't
Do
not.
any of you guys have severe nausea?
Yes. That's actually what I've been dealing with a lot this week with the Diamox change. I'm taking 3 tablets, so I'm on. I should look at it right now. They are it's a 500 milligram capsule, so I'm taking 3 in the morning and 4 at night,
Oh wow.
daily. And then for the Topamax, I think I'm on 75 in the morning, 75 at night. So I'm on significantly high dosages of both, or at least for the Diamox. Um, it it does make me very nauseous. My appetite, once I take them, my appetite's gone. So if I don't eat something before I take my medication in the morning, I'm not eating for hours. Hours.
Yeah. I've gotten to the point now where, so I don't know, mine is strange. Diamox, sometimes it will take my appetite away, but what it tends to do, I've noticed since I've been on Diamox, is I can't tell when I'm hungry. So, like for instance, I guess you could say it's taking the appetite away, but like I
Mhm.
won't feel like the hunger pains that like I'm used to having.
Yeah.
So instead, like what'll happen is I just get like I'll get nausea. So by that point, I know I should have eaten something by now. So I just
Mhm.
created a routine where I just eat in the morning regardless because
Yep.
I have to.
Yep. Yep. That's exactly what I do. That's exactly what I do. I get the same. I essentially get the same thing. It's like a hunger pain. It's like
Mhm.
I'm not hungry, but I have to eat
Yeah,
because I haven't eaten. So I'm like, this is my cue. I'm like, okay, all right, we're ready.
right.
Let's go
And I
back.
hate that feeling. So I'm like, let me
Yeah,
let me eat as soon as I get up so I don't feel like that.
yeah, absolutely. And I've lost. I know that I've lost. My doctor's like, oh, you're doing great. And in my head, I'm like, it's because I'm not eating anything because the Diamox has taken away my appetite. Because
Mhm.
there are times as well where if I have to force myself to eat, I'm nauseous. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is not gonna work. So I have to take time, and then by then I'm like, oh my god, I forgot to eat. I'm like, it's like 1 in the morning. I don't even know what time it is. I'll just have like a little something, and I'm like, all right, well, let's try this again tomorrow.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh yeah, you've lost, and I'm like, oh damn, I lost like 5 pounds. He's like, oh, that's great, and I'm like, is it? And he's like, well, yeah, because you're losing weight. And I'm like, I know, but is
But
it?
I'm not eating.
Right. And that's what I told him. I'm like, I'm not eating. And he's like, I know, but you're losing weight. And I'm like, yeah, but so I'm like, this isn't really the way that we want to do this.
Right.
It's not
Right.
the way we want to do this. So it's not. So I've tried to get myself on a routine as well. I've intermittent fasting is honestly probably the best thing at this point. So I've been eating from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Mhm.
I'll take my medication. I set reminders in my phone. I'll take my medication at 8 a.m. By noon, I pretty much settle down. The fatigue starts to kick in, and I'm like, all right, you know what? Before I start eating, I'm gonna eat. Breakfast at that point, and I'll have something to eat. And then by then, I'm like, okay, like all right, we're pretty good for now. And then I'll finish everything by 8 p.m. and then just
Mhm.
water from there. So it's been giving myself that little routine has helped as well because the nausea can get awful.
Mhm.
Very, it's very hard for me with the nausea, especially because I do work.
Hmm.
It's a struggle coming out to work. Have to battle with the nausea on a day-to-day basis. Um, but I try to fight. I take gravel, but it doesn't help. I was on Kytril before, and I think my body gets immune to it, so it stopped working. Um, so I went back on the gravel, but it's been a struggle, nausea, and then sometimes I start to vomit
Mm.
when it gets really severe and the headaches get severe. It's there are days when my symptoms are so uncontrollably. My face starts to swell, my eyes starts to swell. It's just a mess. But it's just a never ending journey.
Yeah,
And I'm hoping that we all can find a cure soon.
me too.
Same.
You know, and I realize these procedures are really not cures.
Hmm.
I've learned that they're just fixed for a while because persons do. You get a shunt and it works for a while. Persons go in remission, and a year, 2 years later, 3 years later, then their symptoms start to come back, and you go on. You get a stent place. You're fine. I think a couple weeks ago we did with IIH Hub,
Hmm.
and someone shared their experience with a stent, and you're fine getting the stent placed, and then few weeks or a year later your symptoms start to come back. So
Mhm.
I'm really hoping that we'll get a cure for this disease soon, that we can have our lives back. IIH have robbed us, and a lot of persons don't understand how you know different it is for us, how we have to make so many adjustments
Hmm.
um,
Absolutely.
to our personal lives because of IIH. Um, but we continue to fight, and I say once we have the support of persons who genuinely care and understands what we face on a day-to-day basis, we will get through.
Hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree. One thing I was thinking as you were saying that too, a lot of people don't realize all of the things that we have to do to prepare for, like, let's say we want to go out or we have something that we have to go to. Sometimes it takes us preparing like days in advance, like making sure we get enough rest or making sure we do this and we do that. And people don't understand how much
They
it takes
don't.
for us to like be sure we can be there.
Yes, absolutely.
They don't.
Absolutely. And even then the day might come and we
Or
never
you just
know how
can't
we're
go.
gonna
And
feel
they
that day.
never understand.
Yep.
We never know how we're gonna feel that day.
You
Mm.
know, sometimes on the day you say you can't do something, and persons might just say, "Oh, but you don't look sick, or you don't look like anything."
Yep.
But it's more than just you know
How we look.
you being stringed up on an IV access,
Right, right.
or in a hospital bed.
Nine
It's
times out of
really,
10 we look perfectly fine.
Right.
yeah, it's a lot. Even for me to get up in the mornings to come to work, I mean, it takes a lot to get up and to get myself ready for work. It's a whole journey.
Yeah,
It's a lot, to comb my hair, to put
absolutely.
on my clothes. It's a whole lot, especially with the severe headaches, the nausea. It's a lot, and persons just don't understand,
Hmm.
you know. But as I say, I have an amazing work team, and I can never stop saying it, who really, really rally around me, supports me, um, every step of the way. And I think because of that support, I still have a job. I know I've heard so many stories with persons being diagnosed with IIH who have lost their jobs
Right.
because they can't function, they can't come to work. There are so many days that I'm absent from work because I'm not well. And I'm grateful for the support that I get from my work team.
You're very
Um,
fortunate. I'm glad that you have that.
yeah,
There's not many places who can be so accommodating and understanding with what we go through.
that's true. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to, I guess, connect with us so that we could all talk about this more, because I know we talked about it some on the IH Hub, but sometimes it's nice just to have like three people who actually going through this to talk to. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Definitely. And thank you guys for sharing. Thank you guys for sharing. I really appreciate it. You know,
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity.
not a problem.
And I hope you both feel better.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
because
you
I
so
know
much.
it'll get better. I
It
I
does.
understand.
It does. Just have to get over the initial hump.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, we will. Oh, we'll see you all next time.
Yes, thank you again so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Take care, ladies.
Take care.
Take care.